G'day viewers all. Me Sangamo Schlumberger doesn't like the inverter. Still works fine, but normally they go green when you have active and neutral and the input going the wrong way around. But it still advances properly anyway. That's weird. Wonder how the inverter did that. They only started doing it in the last week or so. Just going green. It was going half green and half orange. Weird, doing the greenie. Huh. Well, it's fine when I plug it into the grid or any other source, but every other meter on this inverter runs fine. Even old BAZ runs the right way around and everything, but this one here gets decided to not like my inverter anymore and just does a greenie on it. Interesting. Anyway, that was odd. Okay, viewers, I got this general boombox, Fujitsu General, model GS300, all complete except for the battery door. It's a nice boombox, just gave it all a good clean and contact spot on the buttons, so when the process of getting to the cassette mechanism, it's kind of like this Sangamo. A very tough task indeed. You're going to take all apart and swing the wires out the road and get the board out the road. Oh no! Who wants to get in the action now? Oh dear. But yeah, this board wires to come off, and it's a maze of wires. You're going to try and be careful not to break any of those off. And just behind here is where the belt is. The belt's right there, so it's just under here, the belt. So I can swing this up out of the way. I should be alright. But it does all work. The motor needs oil. It squeals like a pig. It just needs oil and a new belt, and this thing's good to go. I clean the head with my finger. So once I get this all done, I'm going to try and once the belt's on, next step is trying to get the speed right. If the speed's off, I don't know if these two potentiometers are for the speed of the motor. It'd be nice if they actually are, because that'll make it easier, because the motor's facing the other way. It's the same loud as this Sangamo. I have to take the cassette mechanism completely out of the system, set it on its side with the board hanging out everywhere to get to the motor to adjust the speed. This might be the same issue. But it's a nice boombox. Good sound. It's well featured, got shortwave and everything. Viewers, I got the general boombox fixed. I fixing the cassette deck in this thing, and then all of a sudden I was DXing on the shortwave van and the bloody tuning dial cord snapped, which is bizarre how that happened. So I fixed that. That was a mission and a half getting that done. There's the original belt. I haven't got one that size to replace it, unfortunately. I've got it close, but it's thinner, and because the belt's thinner, it's got a plate of tape slower. And that motor in that thing is 1977 date-coded Panasonic motor. It doesn't have a speed adjuster on it, so I'm screwed. I'll have to either change a pulley in the motor or somehow try and source a specific belt, because every new belt you can buy now, they're too thin. They're thin for these older pulleys that these boomboxes used. So yeah, I can get the right length belt, but I can't get the thickness. I need that thickness for this for the tape deck to work properly. Since it doesn't have a speed adjustment on the motor, it's preset. Lubricated it all up, took the Mac out. Everything was just jammed. The original grease had all turned to glue. The mechanism in that is very, very similar to this Sangamo one. I get to pull it apart again to fix it further and clean it, but it's a Japanese-made cassette deck. It's something I'll go into detail the company branding printed on the mechanism, but it's a very, very, very similar mechanically to this Sangamo one. There's a set of rails that slide backwards and forwards on cams, which is part of how these buttons work. Because originally they were stuck, the stop eject didn't work. I could stop it, I couldn't eject the tape. And this here is doing the same thing, so I oiled it all up and it's working fine now. I've rubber renewed the rubber idlers on this thing. But this idler's good. but the idler on this one is worn down a bit. The drive, the idler probably the drives this spool, take-up spool here. The hub, this hub actually. I've had to run. I'll go. As I said, I'm going to go into detail in another video and pull it apart, fix it again, and show you in detail. But of the roller that drives that take-up hub spool there, I put several layers of heat shrink on it to build it up to compensate for that worn tyre. It is better, but if I play anything, yeah, I can stop that pretty easily. So anything more than 10 minutes play time on a 90-minute cassette, the take-up just runs out of torque and it starts running the tape bit. I have to rewind it so it doesn't short up and mess up the tape. And it does play a bit fast. So the belt I used was a flat belt, like we're using these sorts of cassette decks. It's a flat, same length and thickness, but it's just a flat instead of a diamond or square belt. A flat belt worked, but now it's too fast. V1's got good torque. Much better now that the rubber renewed or the rubber idler's in there. I can review it, but I can't cue. There's still a bit of seizing going on there. Yeah, I've got to fix that bit. Auto stop works. It's a bit sticky. This wasn't used in a very long time. This been in the shed all its life, I think, and there was a lot of mouse crap in there. No damage inside it, but boy was there some mouse crap and dirt in here. This actual shell back in the front come off and the centre part stays intact with a circuit board inside. Nicely built deck or unit. I'm going to wash the actual shells, give it a good clean. I can't, there we go. The torque's not quite right, the tension's a bit off. But it picked up all the stations. DXs nicely. The antenna's in good nick. It's got a nice universal swivel point antenna, which I kind of like. 4-directional. Someone's marked with a marker where their favourite stations were. It's a bit off on the dial, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. The tension's just a little bit too loose on the dial cord, but the best as I can get it. We have shortwave, FM's good, good reception on FM. Good reception. Okay, start us a little bit. Works quite well.
Being charged in a police operation described as the biggest in Australia's history. Hundreds of people have been charged. Road rage.
Nice and loud.
Good morning. In some breaking news, Melbourne's coronavirus restrictions.
Both near Rat Park, Lardich.
Look at that.
The ABC
That works.
the lockdown will be replaced with a 25-kilometre travel limit for Melbourne residents if there are no missing
works nicely.
overnight or school students.
Very good performer.
Classroom and metropolitan Melbourne.
The actual same volume control as this Sanyo's got. You've got your two independently controlled volume there. Turn them both as one. I got confused initially. I thought it was a balance, but it's not. It's actually supposed to turn like that as one, or you could set one or the other. It's kind of handy if you've got cassettes that are recorded kind of unbalanced, so you can adjust it so you can get both the speakers working right on stereo. If you've got a cassette that wasn't recorded with the levels right on your balance there, which is a nice feature. I've also picked up this Hong Konger made Rambler. Nice, yeah, nice looking little unit. Looks like something out of a car, a dashboard of a car. This works fine. I just pulled it apart to clean the pots and everything, and it works quite well. Uses Pioneer speakers. Not a bad performer. But we'll do some more. It's got stereo wide too, which is kind of like the ambient stereo feature on these National Boom boxes. does actually have a nice effect on the sound too. Other than that, it works quite well. Just got to do the finishing touches on the tape deck and she's good to go. It's quite a nice boombox. 2 microphones, stereo recording, all complete except for the door for the battery compartment. It's what did I say? It was a model GS 300 General, or Fujitsu nowadays. Fujitsu General. Okay, well, this also came from the same place I got the Rambler and General boombox from. The bloke's closing the shop down, unfortunately. He just got sick of it. So, not very many antique shops around this town anymore. This is one of the last of them. This is the other one I was fixing for this same bloke, but I can't get the exact matching transformer for the speaker for this thing. He just said, don't worry about it. He'll take this, he wants this one back as it is, and he gave me this one for free, so which is nice.
Killer is facing the prospect of entering Saturday's clash against Adelaide.
He had it because his shop's so full. He had something heavy sitting on it, and it fell over and smashed the top of the case and broke the area inside. But I fixed all that. That's all been nice and repaired. Put all the pieces back except for one, I just JB welded it. I'm going to sand all that down and make it nice and the best I can, and paint it. It's a model 64 to 52. I've got the 62 to 52 version of this, which I think doesn't have the bar antenna inside, and the dial face is different. HMV from mid-50s. There was also a Kelvinator branded one of these made for kitchens too. It's essentially the same thing. It's a pretty good nick.
Allegedly tested positive in a preliminary oral fluid test after being pulled over by police.
Good volume. I'm going to clean that pot.
Road test returned a positive result for methamphetamine. She's lost her license.
All original parts, original capacitors, original resistors.
Growers will be able to keep up to date on how
they are paper wrapped capacitors, so I'm probably going to replace them eventually.
As part of an online information session, Graham Phelps from WorkSafe says there'll also be a 3-day inspection program in the Robinvale area later this month, making sure.
Price tag strings making it hard. At night I get better performance. We used to have a bit seized, that shaft that turns actually. We still have plenty of good stations on AM in Australia, luckily.
Encouraged to thank a first responder today. The CFA says its volunteers don't sign up for recognition, but saying thanks is an easy way for residents to acknowledge their efforts.
These are very hard to get. The knobs intact. These always get lost.
Paramedics, the SES and other first responders to help communities keep safe. And that's the latest local news. I'm Rebecca McDonald. If you have a local story to share, call our hotline 50228833 or head to river1467.com.au.
River 1467.
Come on, get back on there.
Advisors. Buy and sell with confidence.
There we go.
Exceptional result.
Partly cloudy day for the Valley and Lower Western. Very slight chance of a shower.
Nice smell. Oh, I love that aroma. I love that aroma.
Partly cloudy for the Riverland.
It was absolutely chock-a-block caked in dust. Was never ever cleaned. So never been taken apart. I've yet to take the chassis out and do a thorough clean on the volume pot, but I'll have to just sand that. I can't get that 100%, so I'll have to sand all that down as best I can and then just paint it the same colour. Cool. Message in the bottle by the police. Or I'll get copyrighted by the police for playing that. We don't live in the... Oh well. If I'm going to get back in the radio stuff online on YouTube, I've been meaning to do a couple of good radio videos lately. I can dig out my AM transmitters and run some royalty-free stations around the house. Anyway, works quite well. Thanks for watching.